I was wondering if I didn't know if I would wake up tomorrow. Just a matter of consideration of the preciousness of our moments. I wondered, what should I speak about? What would be the most important thing if it was the last day of my existence? I was just wondering if I had that sort of mentality, which I have had, but not that intensely usually. Pretty much, I wondered what's the greatest thing I can speak about. And this sentence came across my mind, which is a very fascinating moment because usually I'm a person who thinks purely in images because it's faster. I was driving and I was wondering about what is time? How much time do I have? How much of my lifetime has been haunted by time? And I got a very fascinating realization. I felt it had a structure to it that I could share. Time can only be accessed eternally, or time can be accessed by eternity. And so I'm that human being, and excuse me guys, I forgot. In the name of the most merciful and benevolent, all praise due to the Lord of the worlds, God. As someone who finds the idea of God to be the most fascinating position of attention, my life has changed contextually and through the context of what kind of being I am speaking today. The idea is for me to share the experience, or what I would say as someone who wondered about advanced beings. I realized contextually there was an update in who I am. And the reality shifted from being an infinite world with endless dimensions into, wait a minute, what if it's a door and it has a key? So that area of discussion is the invisible hand. Time can only be accessed eternally. This is a very interesting statement, and it becomes even more interesting based on what your own reality is. But what I would like to say, as one human being on earth, in the great war of time, and that war has included any temporary being in its survival game, it's as if being a being on a planet and wondering what is important. That's where it starts. You wonder what is important out of your ability to notice what is important. So I'm a human being who you can say, was walking on a staircase and I felt I'm going to the top. And then at some point, I went so high, I got the phobia. The phobia, and imagine a staircase with no sides, just pure staircase ascending to the sky. At some point, I was just lying on the staircase, not even knowing how to get down, right? So, what I'm talking about is that we have a physical life and we have the life of our mind. And this mind of ours wonders, why am I in this position? Why are there so many human beings existing? Just take a moment, guys, close your eyes, and just consider how many people are in your neighborhood, how many people are in like your proximity, right? And then imagine how many people on earth there are and how many minds are projecting life in the will of a decree beyond it. There's a duality of time, and then there's the other side, the timeless. And if we were to wonder experientially, what's a being in, what's it like to be a being in time? It's like a candle that's lit, limited resource. The limited resource provides, opens up a domain of psychological access. In the domain of psychological access, as one lives their inner life, they begin to see that the greatest utility usage of the mind and body is to coordinate. So the mind that has envisioned beyond the body realizes it can't leave the body behind. And so, from the great skies of an eternal context to self, of realizing, oh my God, that tree's being a tree, that brick house is being a brick house. You know, that bird flying in the sky is just being a bird in the sky. And we are the beings that created the concept of nature. Why? Not to get closer to nature, to distance ourselves. You see, it's like the life is very physical, ladies and gentlemen, but its valuing is not. Okay? So when I say time can only be accessed eternally, it's as if we've been duped. That means we haven't considered what is considering time. It means the mind is an instantaneous simulation, which means it's a signal. Where the signals come from is all God, and it's only one singular truth. It took me a while to become a singularity. It took me a while to realize that the most advanced communication is not giving 10,000 talks. The most advanced communication in life is not saving the world. The most advanced communication in life is to acknowledge really what you are, and then a true scenario appears, and then a contrasting of hierarchy appears. My whole life, which has led to these words, is pretty much saying I'm like this human being in this world and wondering, okay, I have to administer my reality, direct it, but what value systems can the human consciousness access to, in some sense, unlock what life really means? And the fascinating thing is that the mind tricks the human being in the sense that it projects outcome before the human being can actually have it. The mind teases the body by projecting the future for itself. But that could be used as inspiration. I came into the resolution that I'm in this world and I did not create this world. And because I did not create this world, I have the responsibility of a created being, of an existing being. I'm existing. Everybody is existing. So we all have responsibility for our existence. Now, the idea is, where is this responsibility directed? And I'm talking far beyond the duality of time and the timeless, right? What I'm trying to tell people is actually that the relationship of the body, mind, and soul has to come with a consideration of where the original authority of movement appears. That means there is no concept of alpha, beta. Let me tell you why. Because on some physical level, it's a massive landscape with geometry and shapes, and these shapes are changing. And how we, our brains interpret these shapes is the story we tell or put upon the moment. So when I actually consider how many human beings are right now alive, and how many senses of self projection there are, all I can consider is the connection of these senses of self. But the question came, how do you connect these senses of self? And this is where the idea of the invisible hand comes. The invisible hand is not just an idea in economics. The invisible hand is this notion that it's kind of strange, but it's like we're wondering, all right, in a system of ownership, or in the system of administration, if one was to truly wonder who or what or state or moment holds the greatest authority, imagine all the human beings on earth wondering about what the most powerful being looks like. Do you know? And they will see that if each of them had a picture and we connected all the pictures, what that would lead to would lead to something unfathomable. So what we come to the conclusion that really what is beyond the knowledge in the domain of thought is actually that which is beyond time. So I'm saying that if you are right now a being experiencing time, the only way you can notice time change is if you're not in time. So what it means is every being is holding time. We are holding reality. You know? The legend of the reality holders. Everybody was holding an image. Not an image, but a story. Do you understand? It's like 8 billion stories, and what are these stories doing? And it's so bizarre because I think everybody is subconsciously reacting to how bizarre existence is, and it's like fear. Right? This is why love is the only teaching left, right? Because everybody, as we were raised in fear. Do you understand? And the fear came from authority, and the authority came from that which moved first. That which moved first, oh my God, power. That which moved second, oh my God, I'll never make it. Do you see what I'm saying here? Everything has been created. Everything is happening. Nature is under the administration of a force. How life happens is, it's as if what is coincidence to the common man is in some sense divine decree. Divine decree means authorization zone. So we human beings have an authorization zone in time, but our soul has an authorization beyond time because it is watching time. It's like the reason we know time isn't natural is because we wear watches. It's a calculation. Time is just a conscious state. So it's very simple to narrow life in conscious state and unconscious state, and it's a game, right? Everything is a game because people are trying to do something with their lives. What is it? It's energy management. Who knew? One topic to teach. Everything is energy, and how we manage it as levels, and these levels are under decree, divine decree. Do you know what it means? It means that if you're someone who owns a house, imagine you're existing in an owned world. This means it's so important to quickly realize, especially if you're a random being that has appeared on a planet in the middle of what appears a vast question mark, right? So the idea is to be like, okay, what is the level of intelligent interaction that as a being I can have on Earth? Put aside the ego games, put aside how human beings are constantly self-creating the other. People are actors in the worlds that they create. Yet the creator one is a question mark. I acknowledge it that the only value is, like, imagine there was a superior intelligent force. Like, imagine there was a superior intelligence, like the ultimate one and only intelligence, original source power of the realm. And imagine you're on Earth and you're like, what should I do? Should I go play games of temporary life, or should I wonder about what is the most fascinating idea? It is that which is beyond all possibilities of an idea. That means its birth, its creation, its changes, and all of that. So what it is it's the activation of intelligent interaction with this existential system administrator. What does this mean? This means as simple as waking up in the morning and just acknowledging. People ask some people, yo man, how are you always so humble? It's like, yo, it's not by choice. It's because we stand in the presence of what the human mind, the ego fathoms as royalty, but what it is divine authority. Which means that the human will, it's as if, like, I remember reading this quote online. There was something written online, I don't know. But what it said was that it's like, imagine someone asked God, right, God, oh my God, I don't think I remember it accurately enough. Pretty much God, it's this idea that in God's book, it's written that man is free to make his own choices. What if that's a divine decree? To be free, right? So what it is you have to wonder about what is in the presence of what. And this human being who's wearing this mask, this online mask called Mr.Within, is really just telling you that it's your relationship with your world. You can experience it in time, but believe it or not, I think a majority of human beings are 80% experiencing life beyond time. You know why? It's as similar as watching something. Because you're not considering time as a parallel idea. That means it's like when you watch a film, you're so encaptured by the events in the footage of the film that you're not thinking of like every second passing by, right? So time has been sidelined into an inconsiderable abyss. It means this whole time there has been a way we have been looking at life before we considered it. It's as if you ask a child that hasn't learned the concept of child, what time is it? And the child just giggles like, yo man, how far are we taking human intelligence? How far? To me, if somebody came and said, Mr.Within, what's like the furthest, what's the most advanced intelligence you've contacted on this planet? I said that life took me to a moment where I couldn't do anything, and then I just, in some sense, submitted my ego. Pretty much, it wasn't easy, but I bowed, I prayed on my bed for the first time, and I was just complete, like I have no idea where to take anything. And from that moment on, it was as if some burden of future changing kind of went away. And what replaced it was this simplicity that I am in an attendance of the most advanced. That means it's as if, let's say, that the most advanced original intelligence of being is here right now. It makes sense to acknowledge it. There you go. I'm not saying force yourself, but you gotta, in your most natural state, wonder about, like, okay, what is the value here? What are the stages of activity that must go on? What is the, pretty much life is all about what do we do with the conscious state? What do we do with our consciousness of reality? And I thought, I'm under the impression that the most advanced view is to be like, okay, let's see what the most advanced value system is. And believe it or not, you come to the realization the most advanced value system is unfathomable, and the unfathomable, the unknown, is under the management of a singular original truth. So it's very difficult, but it's like asking Neo, like imagine projecting the movie Matrix on a wall with an old school projector, and then suddenly somehow somebody asks Neo in the movies on the wall, right? Hey Neo, explain your source, what God is. And Neo is trying to explain the projector light to us. It's as if you just reach a point where you realize the I don't knows are way more than the what I know. Honestly, what can I say? I'm a human being who wondered what's the greatest value that I can share in the digital space and the vocal space, pretty much, I guess. Time can only be accessed eternally is a cool sentence. I just wanted to share that. But really, the idea of the invisible hand is the questioning of where the governance of reality is occurring. And what if luck was an illusion? What if that was a curtain? Luck was a curtain, and once you pulled that curtain, you realize it all had to do with you acknowledging the original position of the system. It's as if we're in a system, there's an existential sister administrator, and really the objective of consciousness is to acknowledge, all right, it's not an empty room, there's intelligence here. Now the scope of this intelligence, that which surpasses beyond thought, that is singular, is truth. Now that ends truth. So the truth game becomes that we're in a singularity of ultimatum, of being. We're in the presence of the greatest being. And if we think the greatest being is us, that's kind of like, adorable, but really what it is the greatest being is the position of, it's like cause and effect. If what we are right now is an effect, the original is cause. Because the original caused the effect, the simulation, the original never left. So God is here. So it's important to acknowledge it. Now, where the human scope should go, like when I look at human beings in coffee shops, as I sit there drinking, basking in, pure culture. I come to this realization that the human existence is so mismanaged, and the reason is because freedom is in a slow, like, collective growth system, right? So when I look at human beings, I know that at the back of each of their minds, they're like, man, what was the point of all of this, right? So that means that life has to be served. That means, think of it this way: the body can experience pain and pleasure, right? But the mind can only serve. That's what the mind can do. The mind has visual freedom to move, right? That means how your thoughts appear to you, that's your mind moving. So your mind can move you visually, but now your mind, we consider it the further beyond that. It's not just that you have a mind, it's as if there's a body and there's a soul. Do you know? And the relationship of these two is the mind, right? People are just like having a relationship with the past, which is easier and consumes less energy. Or they can have a relationship with the future, which requires them to acknowledge the position of an original intelligence. So my greatest finding as a human being is that when I wonder how advanced human intelligence can be, it goes beyond needing a biological body. Then in the domain of mindhood, you just have pure freedom of endless bodyhood, right? And so beyond that, one is left in the domain of being like, okay, I searched the world and I found nothing in everything. What can I do now? And I've realized in the sorrow of life, one gets to see the divine presence. You know, it's as if there's something here that's moving everything. I'm not saying we're being puppeteered, but I'm saying that there's an authorization. And when we wonder about intelligent interaction levels, it's as if we're wondering about, okay, I have an intelligent interaction level when I wake up in the morning. I have an intelligent interaction level when I'm speaking to a crowd. I have an intelligent interaction level when I'm speaking in front of a million people. You know, I have an intelligent interaction level when I'm speaking in the presence of like a whole cosmos. All the beings in the cosmos hear it somehow, right? So the moment has been taken to many degrees, but my final conclusion was that because I don't know, how can I decide? So the moment tried to reach, it's like an engine that tried to become like, you know, run to the max, and it as that human, as Mr. Within ran towards the most advanced, I realized the most advanced is that which uses the less energy. The only context of intelligence we have in the human realm is God. So I would say one can even consider how you experience time in every moment, how your attention just is there and there's meaning and subjectivity. This has to do with your mind. It all has to do with how your attention moves. Everybody is trying to be the best character of a video game where they're hoping to have it be theirs. This is the bizarre thing. We have to teach the context first, or the concept is trapped. Everything is in the hand of God, the invisible hand. And this means starting life with an initial trust of the existential system. All right, it has an administrator. That means it gave me so much freedom and just feeling like I'm just hovering on clouds or something, right? Floating on clouds. This feeling that everything is being administered. I can try my best, I can fail. There's an administration system so beyond me that it's just fascinating to be a part of it, right? That means I became fascinated that I'm existing in an existence that us humans haven't come into a clear resolution of. We're all actors, we're all subjectively behaving. We don't know who we are, what we think we are, and so we play the game. When you realize life is short, it kind of makes you want to try a lot of new things, but then you realize every outcome, due to it being intelligence, there's a question of how the intelligence is being administered. And this means a contrast of soul seeing. So it's as if when there's a sight that goes from like your biological body, then there's a sight that goes when you close your eyes and it's there so you can move and close your eyes and visualize, right? Like some person who works at a circus or something. You know, it's like being in a world of shapes as a shape that's being shaped by everything changing, all the shapes changing, of all the changing shapes. Anyways, where we can go from here is really thinking about human behavior, how far it can go, trying to contact the most advanced, realizing its position is due because you're just looking for that which is beyond you. It's automatically humbling. So once you let go, it's very bizarre. Like, imagine being a sci-fi novelist and then suddenly having some sort of experiential intervention, and realization, and being like, wait a minute, it's just a performance. And it's about how much energy we have to perform and where our attention goes. And behind our eyes, everybody is jumping through self-conceived time. Everything is an act. And it's just creatures. It's as if like life is about how should creatures manage themselves? How should creatures be managed by the world? And how should creatures manage the world, right? And it's never to a point where you're so powerful that it destroys you. Like, that's what happens. True power is strange because it means you have surpassed the need for physical. Do you understand? That means that which is beyond this is beyond this. So to be beyond here means to not be this. So if we are this, we should acknowledge that we are this. By this, I mean an existential being in a realm. God is the first acknowledgement. So when you wake up in the morning, acknowledge the existential system administrator. The most merciful, the most forgiving, the one and only truth. I'm Muslim, guys, and let me tell you why, because I was called towards it. So there's limitations in what I can say. Everything is left to the divine will. But really, what I can say is in the sense of design, right? So the sci-fi novelist still exists. In how the moment moves, our life accesses truth. By acknowledging a superior context, we free the need to have control of everything, yet we still need to control the life of our life. So in order to do this, think of it this way: I'm a human being saying, all right, in my experience of how to be human, and in my experience of how the mind moves, and in my conclusion that there is that which is superior to how the mind moves, I've come into, honestly, the humble, I really don't know position that I can't speak about metaphysics anymore. But really the question remains, it's not that I can't speak about metaphysics, it's that even if I do, it's under divine decree. So what is there to say, to do? What is the value of human life? What is the greatest feat that was conquered in a day? 8 billion human, think of it this way, there's 8 billion storytellers, and it's all about how these stories connect with each other, and they're all being connected by the context, which is Earth physically, and by the subjective context that we're humanity. Now, how humanity behaves, it's as if we need an era of filmmakers of the greatness of humanity era. If we're experiencing time timelessly, we have to consider that time is really just a projection, a consideration. So if time is something that's being projected, what's projecting it can't be it or is beyond it usually. So we are beyond time, organizing reality with time, organizing history with sequences of events that happened on Earth, and trying to translate these events accurately. So really, what the greatest thing human beings have been doing is so hilarious. Is subconsciously we're all trying to create the greatest human being. We're all trying to, by subconsciously, everybody's ego wanting to be Superman, right? Or Superwoman, right? Like imagine everybody's trying to be like super something, right? And at some point we realize we're all super, so it's the same as normal. I'm saying beyond time there's an activity of intelligent interaction. I think prayer is the most advanced system Prayer means acknowledging the original, realizing there's so many ways the moment can happen. In past talks I had said that I was no longer going to speak, but I had also said it's as if there will come a time in the future where human beings will be so entertained by that which moves beyond faster than the biology, that the era of like being a pure mind occurs, whether digitally we reach it first or naturally we reach it first. The most advanced, it's like, imagine, it's so bizarre, but imagine maybe in like 400 years all of our minds are connected. Just imagine that. I can see it happening, but I asked myself, how good is it? And then I thought maybe it's like a video game. Maybe every human being has free will to choose the interface that they connect to, like the global digital mind, the legend of the global digital mind. I'm pretty much writing a sci-fi novel filled with legends, guys. Deep down, I reached a point where I was like, it's not about, like, think of it this way. I tried the path. I tried all the different paths, and I came into the realization that none of them truly give me a presence of belonging. And then I came across this moment where I decided I didn't know what to do, so I just stopped. I stopped the future worshiping of a better self, a surviving self. It's like, when you think about it, language is a type of movement. So when a person speaks, they're moving. The question comes, what is moving it? We say a mind. Then we say, what is seeing the mind that is deciding to move? We say that's the soul. We say, what is the soul? It's the mystery of the creator. That means it's an unknown zone. And it's a zone that I really delved into and realized, it's like there's a reason we're being human. There's a reason we're existing now. And it's just so much collective value that the only way I see it is digital connection. That means, I'm telling you, it becomes a survival move, where we're like, how do we preserve all knowledge, all human? Let's say if there was an asteroid hitting on Earth, and we wanted to preserve all human knowledge and go and start over somewhere else. Right, first it would be as if all our minds were digitally connected. It would be like incredible advanced backup systems. It's as if like we take the hard drive of human minds, if we can't take all the bodies, right? And we go to another, let's say, habitable planet, or we go to some massive advanced space station, and we're like, okay, we recreate those human beings, their consciousness intact. There's many ways the world can move. We decide how we act. I don't know really where I'm going with these lectures, but I feel like I'll just speak in moments I feel I should. And really, what else can I say? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. That means there's an original force here. I am not it. This means once you surpassed idol worship, ideal worship, behavior worship, visual worship, right? After you surpass all the types of worship, you come to the being able to worship the original that is beyond reality because it created it and it's not created itself. So it means it's the presence of an eternal being. It's as if all human reality is governed by the presence of an eternal being, a being that is not experiencing time. Doesn't it can, like its choice is beyond human complaint. Humanity is all about how an advanced being realizes how advanced it is. And its advancement is not from itself, so even self-worship, you surpass that. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening, and all praise in the name of the most benevolent, most merciful, all praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. There's an intelligence beyond human words here. Take care, guys.